And now we're over here for News Talk, and tonight we're being joined by Representative Anthony Brindisi from the 22nd Congressional District, here to talk about your first 100 days in office. You've accomplished quite a bit, I think, that you wanted to get done. But first, we mentioned George Phillips right off the top, and I know that when it was first being rumored that he was going to make a run for 2020, your campaign quickly put out a release. Describe him for me, please.
I don't really know him, to be honest with you. I could say I think it's a little early to be talking about campaigns. We have a lot of work to do. We're only 100 days into our term. We're focused on getting around the district, doing town hall meetings, meeting with folks, talking about health care and jobs, the economy. That's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next foreseeable future, and there'll be plenty of time for politics down the road.
All right, let's talk about some of the bills that you've introduced. Let's first start with, though, Spectrum.
Yes.
A lot of people are wondering what's going on with that because they're being, quote unquote, kicked out of the state. That deadline has been pushed.
Yes. So I have been pushing at the federal level now to have the FCC take more action against Spectrum. My first bill that I introduced in Congress was the Cable Transparency Act, which will put companies like Spectrum who have been fined by a state public service commission, require them to report information to the FCC. What are their speeds, their internet speeds, how many households have they moved into or have gone into, really to have more accountability and transparency among these big cable providers. This is going to provide some more oversight at the federal level. If they're not living up to their commitments, then the FCC should take some action against them, which the state is now doing.
Okay, all right. Another bill that you've introduced is, let's see, the Dairy and Sheep H-2A Visa Enhancement Act. Explain that.
So this is a bill I'm working on with a Republican colleague of mine from Pennsylvania. We have a lot of farms in this district, a lot of dairy farms. It's one of the most important industries in the 22nd district. And the one thing that you hear from a lot of dairy farmers is that we need more workers. We have this guest worker visa program right now that doesn't really work for dairy farms because it's only a seasonal program and you need to have workers on dairy farms year-round. So I've been working with a colleague of mine from Pennsylvania to put this bipartisan bill forward to try and provide a worker program, a guest worker visa program that dairy farmers can access.
We watch the cable news networks, and you would think that Republicans are on one side, Democrats are on the other side, and there's such a huge divide. And there's probably some truth to that, obviously. But you just mentioned right there a bipartisan bill working with a Republican from Pennsylvania. How has that been in this first 100 days as you're making contacts and meeting new people? I
think it's been great, especially among some of the newer members. It's very easy for the cable news, the 24-hour news cycle, to go towards the extreme left or the extreme right, because they provide very quick sound bites that fill a lot of news time. But the true story is that there are members on both sides of the aisle, moderates who are in the middle, Democrats and Republicans that are looking to work together. I have another bill that I've introduced to try and crack down on these abusive robocalls that people are getting day in and day out, working with another Republican colleague of mine. That's really the hallmark of our office, working with Mr. Katko, who's a Republican in the Syracuse area, trying to find ways we can all get along and work together, because that's what people ultimately want. They don't want their elected officials going to Washington to obstruct an agenda. They want us looking for ways to work together and govern.
Let's talk about the opioid crisis, because even in this area alone, there reached a point in Oneida County where there were a number of deaths, overdoses as well. This is something that's gripping not just upstate New York, though, it's really the entire country. What are you doing to fend that off?
Well, I think there's a few things you have to do. There's no one magic solution to solving this problem. It has to be tackled from a number of different areas. One, you have to have more emphasis on treatment and prevention. In our area, especially as you get into more rural communities, access to treatment programs is very difficult. You also have to make sure that you're giving our Customs and Border Patrol the right tools to try and stop the illegal flow of fentanyl that's coming in from places like China or Mexico. I had a news conference a few weeks ago with the county executive and our sheriff here in Oneida County, calling on our leaders in Congress to provide funding for Customs and Border Patrol to have these scanners so they can inspect these packages that are coming in from China, because they're coming in as average consumer goods. They're not labeled fentanyl. They're coming in like a pair of shoes, but inside there's this fentanyl, and we need to give our Customs and Border Patrol the tools they need to scan those packages to prevent it from coming to places like upstate New York.
How united is the Democratic Party in Washington under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi?
It's a pretty diverse caucus. Of course, you hear from some of the more extremes in the caucus on a daily basis, but the fact is most of the members in the freshman class come from districts like this district. Moderate districts where they want members working together, looking for solutions on how to lower drug costs, how to lower the cost of health insurance premiums, trying to bring good jobs to our region, fighting our opioid crisis, supporting our veterans, supporting our farmers. These are the things I'm working on, and I'm looking for members both on the Democratic side and Republican side who I can work with to accomplish these goals.
And then as far as town halls and stuff like that in your district, what are your plans there?
So we made a commitment during the campaign that we're going to have a town hall every month that I'm in office every year throughout the congressional district. We've done 4 town hall meetings so far. We had one here in Oneida County not too long ago. We're going to be doing another one probably over the summer or into the fall. And then we're moving into the other 8 counties of the district, doing town halls in each of those counties.
All right, getting to know the district.
Yeah,
and it's a large district and a weird one too,
absolutely.
right? The lines.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the program. Really
Listen, I want to congratulate you for a long tenure of service here to us, and we're going to miss you.
I appreciate it. Kristen.